Hey, 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 it's Chaos Queen here, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, and you are listening to Studio 2009.
There is nothing wrong with your podcast player. Do not attempt to adjust the volume. Hello and welcome back into our studio. You are now inside Studio 2009, only on the Geekcast Radio Network. I'm, of course, TFG1Mike, and joining me once again, as always, is Mr. Dave Draper. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
That's good, that's good. Today we head once again to a galaxy far, far away. That's right, we continue the 12 months of Star Wars Spotlight as we make our way past, thank God, the Skywalker saga for now.
Yeah, we don't get past, well, I mean, we don't get past the Skywalker saga, but we're parallel to it.
Yes. Hey, anything after Jedi is in between, but it's past according to...
But the whole sequel trilogy is the rise of Rey Skywalker.
I'm going to say this now, and I'm going to get in trouble.
No, you're not.
The only Skywalker that mattered was Luke.
No, I mean, Anakin mattered.
Well, yes, but consequently...
Anakin blew up the Death Star and killed millions of people.
Mm-hmm. And he brought balance back to the Force. Because he killed millions of people. And we're going to be discussing The Mandalorian Season 2, which
is the last off-ramp to good Star Wars if you go in chronological order.
Mm-hmm. So it's
we already did Andor, which takes place earlier, but it was the last one out.
Yep.
Show me the one whose safety deemed such destruction. You must reunite it with its own kind.
Where?
This you must determine. The songs of eons past tell of battles between Mandalore the Great and an order of sorcerers called Jedi.
You expect me to search the galaxy and deliver this creature to a race of enemy sorcerers?
This is the way.
You know this is no place for a child. Wherever I go, he goes. So I've heard. This is the way.
So, Season 2's... I felt these 8 episodes moved a lot faster than the first 8 did.
Yes. I can't remember if we said this on air or off, but I did not have the strongest memory of Season 2. Mm-hmm. I watched it once, and, I liked it. Mm-hmm. I really liked it. Like, I liked it a lot this time around. I remember with Season 1, I talked about how the episode with Gina Carano was exactly what I wanted from a Mandalorian episode, and that was my least favorite episode. Like, the irony was it was the most classic Western. This first episode is it Timothy Oliphant? That plays Cobb Vanth.
Oh God,
Cobb Vanth.
Cobb
Vanth. That is a quintessentially Western frontier. We've got to work with the native peoples. It's a classic Western story with a dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my God, I love this so much.
Yes, you are correct. Timothy Oliphant as Cobb Vanth.
I thought, because he's in something else that like my friends all love, but it's not Star Wars. So I can watch it.
The Hitman movie, maybe?
No, God, no. I think it's a Western. I think, isn't it? There's like a
Justified.
Justified. Okay.
On FX. Yeah, it's a TV show on FX. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, this one just, like, this gave me everything I wanted out of Star Wars, and at the end of it, I'm like, okay, story done. Story over.
Yes.
That's it. We done. We don't need nothing else. We don't need an 8-episode BAFTA tank. Thank you.
Well, like I mentioned, like, it was a resolution for Moff Gideon.
Mm-hmm.
It was a resolution. It was a resolution for Grogu, and of course, knowing what we know, the problem is it came out after the sequel trilogy, so everyone's like, "Oh no, little Grogu is gonna get murdered." I'm like, well, whatever. There was a lot of there's a lot of fanboy kind of, I don't know how to put it, hoping, grasping at stars, praying, living in their own little pillow forts. Yes. Was like, this is going to rewrite the sequel trilogy. And it's like, no, they're not going to rewrite the sequel trilogy. It's all locked into its own little canonical thing. So Grogu should have died, which is sad. Or maybe Grogu.
Yes.
Hey, look, he survived one massacre. Well, fucking survive one massacre. He can survive another.
Yep.
And it's funny because I remember when I saw the trailers for the season, I was worried that it was going to be, and I call it Dave Filoni continuity porn. and it wasn't. And ironically, season 3 was Dave Filoni continuity porn. Season 3 was what I was worried season 2 was going to be.
Right.
Season 2 is great. Season 2 is, you said it's what you want from Star Wars. It's what I want from The Mandalorian.
Right. No, yeah, but like, okay, but what I mean is like, okay.
So yeah. I'm just saying, like, specifically for me, it's what I want from this show, from this kind of show.
Yep.
It is a Western. It is the guy going from town to town. It is, I love bringing back Bill Burr?
Yes. The
from Space Boston?
Yeah.
No, I know who Bill Burr is. I couldn't, I was blanking a little bit on the name.
Miggs Mayfield.
He was the guy with the little gun on his back. He was arrested.
Yeah.
And that was a great episode.
Yeah.
Like, I love that whole scene where he's confronting his former commander.
Yep.
Like that's a fantastic nail biting scene.
Yeah.
It was like a real, like, the only episode I didn't like when I saw it originally, and I wasn't paying attention this time too much, was the one where Grogu commits genocide.
He eats
like the eggs.
Yes.
Species is wrapped up in one jar of eggs, and he's eating them all, and it's portrayed as being cute. And I'm like, dude, you're murdering like this lady's entire species.
Mm-hmm. And then toy companies capitalized.
Did they?
Oh, I will.
I know there's a lot of Grogu eating frogs, but I thought they were the one-eyed frogs that are on every planet for some reason, like Jawas. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that they actually did like Grogu murdering children.
Yes, we'll get to that. Yeah, no, so this season started October 30th of 2020 and ran through December 18th of 2020. So season 2 was literally the whole ass end of the year that was the pandemic. And I think because of what the first season was starting right before the pandemic did in 2019, I had forgotten that Mando started in 2019. Like, it's between 2019 and 2024, it hasn't been 5 years. It's been 55 and a half years.
I go back to I'm like, wait, it's the 10th. It's almost the 10th. It's the 9th anniversary of fucking Force Awakens. I apologize for the cursing, but it's okay. It's mind blowing. Mm-hmm. Like that much time has passed since Disney's been in charge.
It's absolutely crazy how much time has passed, and oh man, it's just it's so crazy. But this second season, like I said in the first, I'm pretty sure I said this in the first episode, Westerns for me, most of the time as a kid, they were too slow. in the 80s when my mom or somebody would try to get me to watch what I'm like, no, I don't care about the cowboys. Give me the space aliens, or give me to this, or give me to that, or whatever. I mean,
you appreciate the irony of that.
Yes,
Star Wars in particular was it took a lot of its DNA from westerns.
Yeah, I appreciate that, absolutely, I do. But yeah, no, this just like the first, like we said in the first season episode that we did, very western, very from town to town, very kind of thing, but in this, it's like he is quested to return them, or not them. He's requested to return Grogu to the Jedi. He is, he has a path that he is on for Mando, and during that path, other things happen for him and for whatever, and it ends on such a note that I'm just like, holy crap! I remember the first time I saw this second season and the ending, and I'm like, X-Men class. My eyes just like kind of glazed over, my ears perked up. I'm like, really? And I saw the damn thing fly. I'm like, oh hell! And then all I needed to see was the black glove, because as soon as you see the black glove, you know who the hell that is.
Dude, I spent that entire sequence the first time around, literally sitting on the edge of my chair, like actually sitting on the edge of my chair, saying over and over and over again, it can't be. Mm-hmm. My mind could not wrap around it. It was like, it can't be. And I'm like looking at it, because they tease it out. Mm-hmm. You don't see that glove until a little bit later on in the sequence.
Yep.
You don't see the lightsaber ignites on a black and white monitor.
Right.
And I'm like, it can't be. It can't. And then finally, like, you see the glove, you see the green lightsaber, and you're like, and your brain's trying to go, Jesus God, they brought back Luke Skywalker. This is amazing.
Yep.
And they did.
And they did.
This time around, I noticed, because people complained about the CGI for that. Mm-hmm. This time around, I noticed it a little. I think I was less in shock.
Yeah.
So I noticed it a little bit more this time around. But, like, dude, they brought back Luke. That was so cool. And then R2 shows up and goes, oh, God, another one.
Yeah. I mean, it just, and, I mean, if it wasn't the X-Wing, if it wasn't obviously the green lightsaber that he built for himself, blah, 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 and if it wasn't the black glove, as soon as you see that droid, you fucking know who that is.
Oh, well, you don't see R2 until after it's revealed.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, if anyone had any doubt, you throw R2 in there, and it's like, okay, we believe you. And it's just so good.
Yeah,
it's just so.
It was
good.
It wasn't just good. It was perfect. Mm-hmm. Like it worked perfectly.
Yep.
And that's, I think, what makes everything that follows really kind of heartbreaking is, like, these guys knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, why did you do, like it's one of those things. It's like, I'm to the point now where I'm not angry about what happened with Star Wars anymore. I'm more disappointed parent. I'm more like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. Like, because you had something. And, they've still got, like, I'm an idiot. I'm still, like, super on board for Andor Season 2.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely, the funny thing is, I was the guy that loved that from the start. When that show came out, people were like, well, who's excited for this? And I was like, I am. Me.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And then people were like, oh, it's slow, it's boring. And then all of a sudden, like, the hype train started kind of as it was winding up, as it finished. Mm-hmm. It was like, oh, wait, no, that's actually pretty good. Oh, I gave it a chance. It's like, dude, I was there from the jump.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that. But other than that, I'm just like, I feel, I hate to say it, my mom's ghost is looking down and she's smiling because I think it's time to move on. Like, it's time to let this part of my life go. And that's hard.
Yeah. Because
it was so important to me. But, like, if I had stopped watching these Star Wars from 2020 on, well, to be fair, to spoil a little bit of Book of Boba Fett, I think the 2 Mandalorian 2.5 episodes in that show are really good.
Yes.
And I really like them.
Yes.
And I kind of have a story to tell about that when we get there. Okay. So, but I like, if you're doing a watch through of the Star Wars saga, and you want to know when to quit after this episode.
Yeah.
Like this is then you go, everything else is Jaws 2. Everything else is Die Hard 4. Everything else is bad sequel garbage.
Speaking of Timothy Olyphant, you know what the funny thing is that outside of the whole, and I don't want to get into it here, but the usual whole Christmas movie, not a Christmas movie debate BS that people try to pull me into.
Die Hard?
Yeah. I love Die Hard.
I do too.
As a movie, as a first movie, I absolutely love it.
Yeah. The first movie is great.
Right. The second movie's okay.
Second movie's watchable.
It's not bad.
And I've never seen the third movie. I've heard people defend it. So it does something different, which is,
Well, right. It does something a little different. And the third movie is really where, again, for me, where I kind of came in, even though I had seen the first movie before, obviously. But the third movie is the Samuel L. Jackson movie. And that's just so good. And then the fourth movie, I think, for me, is like, okay, they're going to try to put him into the computer age. Not him necessarily, meaning McClane, but they're going to do a plot about the computer age, about the government shutdown, and about this, about that, about whatever, about Timothy Olyphant trying to take over, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, I didn't know he was in that, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the first thing I remember.
It's Detective Tissue, sure.
Yes. So, yeah, and I stopped there.
Is there a fifth one? I don't know how many Die Hards there are.
I believe there's coming a sixth.
How can there be? Yes, I remember there was a joke about him doing the commercial for the batteries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, no, and that was cute. That was clever. Yeah. But how can they do a sixth one? He's got the thing. He's got the it's very sad. He's got brain damage, a brain condition where he he can't talk.
Yeah, that is poor Bruce.
That was kind of apparently that was the whole, because there was this thing about he was suddenly pumping out all these really crappy Redbox movies, really cheap Redbox movies, and people were like, why is he doing that? And apparently he was doing that to get money in the bank.
Get money in the bank because of it. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So there is obviously 1, 2, 3. 3 is With a Vengeance. 4 is Live Free or Die Hard, and then the fifth one, which came out 11 years ago, is A Good Day to Die Hard.
Okay.
And let's see. I do not see. Okay, here we go. Canceled sequel. When the production was formally announced for the fifth film in the series, his desire to retire the John McClane character in the sixth and final film. This is 2017. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a sixth one because of his health. And yeah, the production was later canceled outright in 2019, further consideration by Disney. Willis reprised his role as McClane for the final time in 2020 for an advert. Yeah, the Die Hard car battery thing. Yeah, so that's the thing. And no, Disney, God, if you people do this, don't do this. It doesn't have a date on this, but Wikipedia says in lieu of company-wide reorganization, Disney is said to be rebooting the property as a streaming series on Hulu. Don't stop. Let it go. If your main actor, if your main character role, if the guy that crafted that role, if he's too sick to do it, or if he doesn't want it, if he wants to retire the character, retire the franchise. There are no other characters, because we know Zeus doesn't want to. Samuel L. Jackson isn't chomping at the bit to do a Zeus Die Hard thing. He's more chomping at the bit to get his purple lightsaber back in his hands, which is more than fine for me. I don't mind. If Star Wars goes that way, I'm more than on board for a Mace series. That would be awesome.
I have an asterisk on that.
Okay.
Because he wants to do it. He wants to do it after his arm was cut off and he fell 2,000 miles to the surface of Coruscant.
Yes, that's.
And I'm like I have had enough
prequel
of not prequel. I have had enough of things don't matter.
That's true.
I mean that's what's killing these to actually bring up something that's going on right now. It's funny in the latest, right now as we're talking, the current series is The Acolyte.
Yep.
And one of the things in modern Star Wars is that if you stab someone with a lightsaber, they don't die. That was established in Obi-Wan. That was established in Ahsoka. So in this one, spoiler, I won't name the name, but a character, a Jedi, and a female Jedi get stabbed, and they stab her 3 times to make sure that she's dead. It's like bip, bip, bip. It's like you die. It's like the guy knew. It's like, oh wait, you're a woman and a Jedi. Oh, well, I'm gonna stab you 3 times and kill you off. Because the male Wookiee Jedi just needed one little slash and he killed those to dead. But this was a woman, so you had to like make sure you had to get all the organs. And she was mad too. Like she was legitimately mad, and that's like the magic. That's the magic thing that keeps you from dying from being stabbed by a lightsaber is being angry. And people listening is like, this sounds stupid. It's like, yeah, it is. Like, and I don't like, and I don't want to turn this into like a.
No.
I have very complex feelings about the Acolyte. I feel like it could have been something really good, but I think the execution was poor. Like, and it's weird because I don't feel like I'm on either side. Like one side is like it's evil and I hate everything about it and blah blah blah, and the other side's like it's perfect. If you don't like it, you're not a real Star Wars fan. And I'm like, I wish it were better because I think there's something there.
Yeah. So as we've already said, we covered Ahsoka, we covered Andor season 1. We will be covering Andor season 2 whenever it hits. Yay! But as of right now, as of this recording, episode 95 of Studio 2009 will be the final episode on this podcast for 12 months of Star Wars, where we will be doing the entirety of the sequel trilogy. Because it only needs one episode. It doesn't need.
Does it?
I don't.
That's gonna be a long episode.
No, we're gonna record those separately. I'm just gonna edit them together.
Okay.
But
because I feel like I think all 3 films. The third one can be summed up pretty quickly, but I mean, each film has its own thing to discuss. I feel like, but okay.
Well,
it's your channel, it's your network, man.
I can space it out again.
Whatever, do what you want.
But the point is that after the sequel trilogy, it kind of stops.
Yeah.
I
mean, hopefully
you have already said you have no interest in Obi-Wan.
No.
I honestly, I watched that series, and the 3 best parts in that series are Little Leia, Lola the droid, and the relationship that Obi-Wan has with little Leia and Lola the droid.
What about the droid? You mean that little bug droid of hers?
Yeah, Lola.
Okay.
Yeah, the droid she has.
You and I are very different people.
Okay, well, it is.
No, we are. Like, I think the best. I do think the one thing I really liked in that show was the confrontation with Vader at the end.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Particularly when Vader's when they help. Like, there's one moment, like, because there was always hype about bringing Christian back. And there's one moment where I really feel like the whole thing paid off, which is when the helmet is broken and he's actually talking to Obi-Wan.
Yep.
And he has the bit about, like, you feel guilty because you killed me. And it's like, no, you didn't. I killed Anakin. Like, that moment is really good.
Yeah.
I don't know that it pays for, like, literally everything else in the show.
Right.
But I do think that moment is really good by itself.
Yeah, and this is probably the only Obi-Wan series talk you're going to get from us folks on this podcast. But
I mean, okay. No. But the other thing I liked is that the one good guy robot had a blaster from the Clone Wars, had a droid blaster from the Clone Wars.
Yes, he did.
Oh, that's a droid blaster, ha! But that I thought was neat.
Yeah. So I'm all about, like, for me, the way my Facebook account is these days, it's, what memories do I have for today? And going through, like, 10 years ago this year, and 10 years ago, apparently, or however many years ago it wasn't 10 years ago, I don't think, but, like, the one line that Alec Guinness, James Arnold Taylor, and Ewan McGregor have said for that character, and I literally had a brain fart. So I actually went back and I watched the 6th episode of Obi-Wan the other day, and obviously I should have freaking hello there. All 3 of them have said it, obviously.
I didn't get it when you mentioned it to me. So
yeah, well,
which is funny because it's actually like my text alarm for somebody I know. Hello there.
So I watched that 6th and final episode, and you are 100% correct. That battle, oh man.
I don't know the whole battle, but that moment is.
Yeah, no,
the battle I felt was a little overwrought because it was like they had to top Mustafar. So they're throwing mountains at each other, and it's like, okay. I'm more interested in I'm older now. I'm not a kid.
Right.
So I'm more interested in the more human moments than the spectacle, I think.
Mm. All right. But yeah, so the Obi-Wan series, I had gone back and because I wanted to find out what I was forgetting. And of course I got there and I'm like, oh, duh, how the hell did I not remember that? I just think it's super cool that in obviously the original film, Alex says it, but then you get James Arnold Taylor as the voice of Obi-Wan in several of the animation things, and he said it, and now Ewan has said it. So it's like,
I think it was the other way around. I think Ewan said it, and then they copied that for the animation. Well, no, because it's like it's. I mean, when Ewan says it, it's like a lot of my feed, not a lot anymore, but it's a meme. Him saying it because he goes hello there, and it's like General Kenobi. So there's like all these memes about like, you know, if you know she's the right girl for you, you say hello there, and she says General Kenobi, and it's that whole hello there, General Kenobi is a meme. Mm-hmm. It's a thing.
Well, I think for me, because I don't know, I've found it kind of like I hadn't watched the prequels in a long time because we started doing them. When did we start? 2020, I think. So it had been a while, and since that time when he originally said it, I had literally watched all of the animation during the pandemic. Every bit of animation I could get my hands on. So that's why when I said that it's Ewan now with the Obi-Wan series, that's kind of what I mean, where it's like, yes, you are absolutely 100% right. Ewan had said it before, but when he says it at the end of his series, it's like, because we know that's where it leads because he's saying it to Luke. That's the key for me, and hopefully there isn't a Obi-Wan season 2.
They're talking about. I guess they're even working on Ahsoka season 2, and there's a lot of noise about Acolyte season 2. It's happening, it's not happening, it might happen.
Even though we're not covering it, I came so damn close. Like 2.5 weeks ago, or whenever the hell it was. Like whenever I
watched an episode. I watched one. Because there was all this hype about the third episode.
Yes.
And I watched the third episode, and that's why, like I said, like I didn't go, I hate this. It destroyed my childhood. Yeah. But I also went like, I wish it had been better. It could have been handled so much because they're doing something different.
Okay.
Andor did something different, and some people embraced it, and some people hated it.
Right.
But Andor was done really well.
Yes.
Where there's a lot to make fun of in Acolyte. There's a lot that's very sloppy. You know, there's the what did you do? What did you do? What did you do? And then there's the whole. There's the infamous the power of one, the power of two, the power of many, and you're just like, that's an actual. God. That is an actual, like the crowd is chanting that, and then there's an actual recorded song on the soundtrack. Power of one, the power of two, the power of many, and you're like, wow.
Yeah,
just wow. But it's like the ideas aren't necessarily bad. I also think it's being handled very sloppily, because the character of May, like last episode, she's like, I'm giving up my quest for vengeance, and I'm turning myself in. And now she's, for no reason, suddenly back on her quest for vengeance. It was just like that whole episode. Like, never mind what I said that last episode. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna kill this guy. But at the same time, like one of the characters, and it got a lot of like it's funny because last week there was a lot of chatter and they did the pronouns. They did pronouns for this character, this new character. They said he, they, pronouns, and I'm like, that guy is an obscure race from the Han Solo books by Brian Daley. And I'm like, neat. Like my brain goes, ooh, it's a little obscure reference to a thing that I remember and really liked.
Yeah.
I don't care about the pronoun thing is one line of dialogue. It's dumb, it's clumsy, it's gone.
Yeah.
He's this race of creatures from the Brian Daley books. To me, that's like, ooh, neat.
Yeah, absolutely.
For half a minute, everybody thought that like there was another one and they stood on each other's shoulders and wore a black cloak and they were Smiler Ren. But it was not to be. No. Not to be. Smiler Ren was the most obvious choice possible. Spoiler alert. Sadly.
Yes. Again, for me, it's one of those things where I have to, and we've talked about this before, I think, but I will always say this until streaming services go back to doing the Netflix model of drop everything and let us watch it at our own pace instead of what they do now, where it's like, have an episode this week. You're not traditional television. You've never been traditional television. Stop trying to be traditional television. Traditional television, unfortunately, for the most part, kind of, sort of, not really, but a little bit dead in my mind because half the stuff I watch is streaming. I can't remember the last time I turned on my monitor, my this, my that, to go, specifically now because you can go to NBC's website and you can watch stuff. You can go to this, you can go to that, you can go to whatever. But like my television, my 55-inch 4K HD blah 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 sharp television that I bought in 2018 as a Christmas present to myself, because I bought that, and at the time Karen bought her a new laptop, so that was our Christmas presents to ourselves that year. And ever since then, I don't think I've ever tuned that TV to an actual television channel. It's always been, which app am I going to use the voice remote for Netflix, Hulu, blah 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 blah. The last time I watched an actual television channel was probably 2017 when we were sitting in her two-flat in Chicago, up in the northern part of the city there.
I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat you are, although ironically, I was just watching TV last night because I was watching the debate. I was curious, but like that's like the first time I've watched network TV. Well over a year, if that. Yeah. Because I don't watch TV shows like. And, I made the joke about Star Wars. Like literally, if it's not Star Wars and it's not Marvel, the odds are very low I'm going to bother with it.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't watch TV. I watch TV shows. I just don't watch them the way they used to be presented to me. Like you'll see advertisements of, "Hey, this new show tonight on NBC." And tomorrow morning on Hulu. Okay, I know nothing is going to happen between 10 p.m. Eastern Time and 6 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time tonight and 6 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, where I'm going to get so super spoiled on whatever that television show. Like, I can wait for the streaming, considering I pay for ad-free streaming on Hulu. That's a whole other discussion. But
yeah, that is a whole other discussion.
Yeah. But it's just one of those things where this show, this season, it moved at a pace that was just like exciting, and it was
crafted by Favreau's a movie guy.
Yep.
And it was made by good directors, and it's the difference between something that's made by people who are professionals and who are good and who are invested in the storytelling versus people who are maybe not as professional. Because one of the narratives is that Disney likes to hire people who are newer and younger and less polished. Right. And I think that comes through. There is something, if you've got the $2 billion, you hire Steven Spielberg. Mm-hmm. What idiot would go, I could hire Steven Spielberg for my movie, but I think I'll hire this guy who did a couple of music videos. And I know that like a couple of big directors have come out of music videos. Right. I get that, but they didn't go directly from like videos to like the whatever. It's Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. There's a big difference in hiring. And again, this is also another whole separate discussion with you or me or anybody else that I say this to. The late 70s, early 80s started a trend of things happening. G.I. Joe, Masters of the Universe, yes, Star Wars, but that was in the late 70s, whatever. But the 80s kind of like started it and perpetuated it to the point where 40 years later, we have all these Transformers toys and series and blah, 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 or we have all this He-Man stuff, or we have all the Star Wars stuff. And you can't start anything new because these companies are reliant on the money that their franchises, that their tentpoles make for them.
Nostalgia is the mind killer.
Right. But the thing is, like, starting something new with somebody new, like you said, you're going to get Steven Spielberg over Joe Schmo who just got out of film school kind of thing. Because Steven Spielberg.
I said you want to. I said it's the option.
Well, right. But I'm saying, like, you don't have, like, right now today, you do not have, and I'm 44 years old. I don't know. I do as much research as I can, but to my knowledge, you do not have the names in writing, producing, directing.
I mean, I think okay. You don't have. I mean, Spielberg was a once in a generation freak talent.
So was Lucas.
Well, Lucas is good at what he's good at.
Yeah. And
Lucas created my childhood, but I do think Lucas has more limit. I think Spielberg is a better director than. I mean, overall. Lucas is a good. I have this whole grand theory about creativity, and I think people have things they're good at, but they also have things they're not good at. And the problem is that a lot of times the things that they're not good at seem sexier than the things they are good at. So they want to do the things, like I want to direct. And it's like, you're a good actor, but you're not a good director. So you direct a crappy movie. You're good at like when we get to the sequel trilogy, J.J. Abrams is a brilliant casting director. Like those movies, whatever else you say about them, they are really well cast. And I actually think he's a pretty good director. The problem is he is not a good writer. And he wrote those. Like that's the thing with Lucas is he's not a good writer. He's a good idea guy. He's got and as someone who's tried to be a writer, I think there are two aspects. There's the ideas and then there's the craft. Yeah. And if you've got both, you're golden. You're great. And if you don't, you get a partner that's got the one that you don't have, and you work together. Yeah. And I think Lucas has ideas, and I think if you've got someone else who's got the craft, you can hone those. Either has the craft, or like in Lucas's case, it was all happy accident. It was all art through adversity. It was all his excesses and crazy nonsense got cut by the wayside because it cost too much and it was too much of a pain in the ass. And he was forced to keep it simple. Right. And part of the appeal of Star Wars is that it's simple. Yeah. It's black and white. It's and that's why whenever they get like the Force gods from Ahsoka and the Clone Wars, and whenever they get up their own nostrils about all this nonsense, it's like it's good, it's evil, it's just keep it simple. And part of the problem with the prequels is that it was trying to tell a more complex story. And I think he did a very bad job of it. I think there's a lot of information that got left out. Yeah, I think we need, because the whole thing is, the prophecy is that Anakin destroys the Jedi and the Sith. Yeah, he takes them both out to bring balance. Well, why do the Jedi, they never tell you why the Jedi need to be taken out? And the problem is, okay, fine, you need to take out both, but we, the audience, are going into those movies having grown up with the original trilogy, having believed, having been taught that the Jedi were this force for good in the galaxy, that they were positive. The simple movies said Jedi good. So when you make Jedi complicated or bad, then you need to explain that, and they don't. There's one line of dialogue that Yoda has about, these younger Jedi today, they're a pain in the ass or whatever. It's like we needed to I firmly believe that all the issues that fans have with the Jedi in the prequels is not a bug; it's a feature. Yeah, they're supposed to be screwed up. They're supposed to be poking Anakin with a stick. Yeah, because they don't know no better. Right. But we don't know why. Yes, we don't know why that's wrong. We don't know where they lost their way. Yeah. We know we like Obi-Wan. We know we like Yoda. And you need the guy who was the craft guy sit down with George and say, okay, this is the story you're trying to tell, but you need to flesh these parts out because they need to understand why the Jedi, and I think he came up with that later because obviously Luke is the last Jedi, and we assume that he's going to resume the tradition. This is one of the reasons that I don't hate The Last Jedi, because he doesn't. He follows the path that the prequels suggest he should follow, which is not the path that fans want. Fans want him to bring back the Jedi Order because we've been taught the Jedi Order is good. Right. But they weren't. They needed to be destroyed to balance the Force. Why? And that's the huge gaping hole in all Star Wars. Well, where the Jedi went wrong, what they did wrong, and why they needed to be wiped out to bring balance to the Force. Yeah.
I don't know.
I like Star Wars. I think about it a lot.
It's okay. It's just one of those things where I don't know, man. It just seems like I think my whole point at the beginning of this, when I said about the whole tract of the 80s and kind of starting things, and now 40-something years later, we have all this blah, blah, blah. What I meant when I brought up Spielberg is that we as kids, teenagers, whatever you want to say from then, we know those names because, like, Spielberg, again, take Spielberg, for example. You've got Indiana Jones. You've got this. You've got that. You've got Hook.
You got Jaws, Close Encounters.
Right.
E.T. Like
E.T. of all things, yeah.
It is weird how E.T. has fallen off the culture radar. Like, it was like the biggest movie in the world, and like nobody seems to talk about it or remember it.
Right, and I think the reason why it has fallen off the radar is because it's one film.
It's one, yeah, okay, that's fair, yeah.
That's the only reason why, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think.
Oh no, like I think
I'm saying, like,
it pure.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. But my point is, like, you compare Spielberg to any director today, I couldn't tell you.
I think there's a couple of good ones. I think Favreau's good. I think,
but
I really like what's it like? I can't remember. I really like that guy whose name I can't remember right now.
It's okay.
Because I'm an idiot. He was the guy who started Troma. He did the Guardian. James Gunn.
Oh yeah.
I think Gunn has developed as I think Superman is going to make or break Gunn's legacy because I think that guy developed as a talent, and I think he's got something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think Superman's going to be out of his comfort zone. So it'll be fascinating to see whether he drags Superman into his comfort zone, because there's a lot of like kind of motley characters in that film.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite characters, but there is this whole sort of Guardians motley crew thing around this. But then it really should just be a Superman movie. But like Superman is not a motley crew guy. Superman is an idealistic blue skies, like. And again, I always think it's hilarious that people are like, oh, well, you can't do the Christopher Reeve movies anymore because we're far too sophisticated for that. And I'm like, motherfucker, 1978 took place after like Watergate, Vietnam. The economy was in the dumpster. Yep. Like, do you have any idea how cynical and burned out we were when that movie came? The point of that movie was it gave us hope. Like, that's why that went. That's why that worked. That's why Star Wars worked, is because we were burned out and we were bitter and we were hurting, and these movies gave us hope.
As the Star Wars guy I know you are, you're going to hate this, but we all know what the real title of that movie is, which is Star Wars. But because in the grand scheme of things, of 1 through...
Well, because they needed a different... Because they named Star Wars the whole series.
Right.
And they went and gave it a New Hope.
A New Hope. But
which is a little on the nose, and it's also my least favorite part of Rogue One. Is what is it? Hope. It's like, oh Jesus. Yeah. Peter Griffin. She said the thing.
The most vulgar character in the entirety of Star Wars, folks, right here. They beeped all his lines.
But I think we've lost that. I think we want to be too sophisticated and too cool for school, and I think the next film I really think that if someone has the guts to do that, like that's one of the things, like one of my favorite moments in the Avengers, like because and just a little too much information for people. Personally, I don't have faith. I'm not a person of faith. Okay. I don't belong to a church. I don't believe. But my favorite line in that movie, and one of my favorite movie lines of all times, is Thor shows up and he takes Loki, and Iron Man goes off, and Cap's about to go after him, and Black Widow's trying to talk him out of it, and she's like, they're basically gods. And he looks at her and he says, like, there's only one God, ma'am, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
Yeah.
And it's so pure and noble, and not noble, but like there's something pure about that character. I never liked Captain America comics, but I love Steve Rogers in the movies. Like I love that noble, hopeful spirit.
Yep.
And I don't think modern writers want to tap into that, because they're all like, I want to show everybody how smart and clever I am. I'm gonna make it dark and there's something to that. Like I love another one of my favorite characters is Magneto. I think he's a good guy. I think Magneto was right, because like human beings can't get along with each other, and now we're gonna make a human being that can like have godlike powers, and we're not going to do something about that. No, humans are terrible. Humans are monsters. I mean, they've even proven chimpanzees are murdering each other. Chimpanzees go to war with each other. Like, our creatures are terrible. Like, we're always fighting with it, and then suddenly we're going to have like these godlike things over here, and we're not going to try to shut them down or enslave them or do horrible things to them. Yeah. We can't even play nice over which Abrahamic tradition is right. I mean, Jesus, no pun intended. But like, I think, and I think I haven't seen the new that spanking new Top Gun movie that came out like 3 years ago.
Maverick, yeah.
But I think one of the reasons it hit really hard was that wasn't it kind of like an 80s optimistic. I mean, there was some complexity to the story, but it was basically very simple and I think people want simple stories. People want good and evil. People want hope, and complexity is great. I love complexity. Like, I grew up in the 70s. My children's movies were Watership Down and that fucking Raggedy Ann and Andy movie that's depressing and dark as hell. And for some reason, Star Wars came along, and it's been the most important movie of my entire life. It's funny.
Yep.
And I people want to just get away from it all. I mean, like I said, I watched the debate last night, and my God, I want to get away from this world. I want to live somewhere simple where the good guys do the right thing and they win, and the bad guys are bad and they lose, and we don't have to worry about like microaggressions and flying the wrong flag and just everybody being pissed off and angry at everybody else about stupid, petty things. A world where people like look at each other and realize we have more in common. We all have more in common than we have apart. And like that work together. Like one of my favorite movies is Pacific Rim, where everybody comes together for a common goal. It's one of the things that breaks my heart about like Star Trek. Star Trek was originally the premise was humanity came together and got their shit together. And the point was that we'd run into these alien races that did not have their shit together. And of course, it mirrored a problem that was going on in the current era. And smug Starfleet was like, ho, 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 you guys still have racism. You guys still have sexism. Ho, ho, ho. But like the idea that we could just stop letting certain individuals who use it for power and money distracting us with this garbage that you need to hate them because they're gay, and you need to hate them because they're Christian, and you need to hate them because they're whatever, or because they're black, and you need to hate them because they're white. Like, we're all, it's and that's what Star Wars was. It was, we all come together, and now it's all identity politics, and I mean, look, the power of many. Yep. The sad thing is, there's some truth in that, and they express it in the stupidest, most cloying way possible. It's sad, and
yeah, I agree.
That, I mean, and this season, to actually get back on the topic of the damn podcast, that's what this season is, right? It's he works with he teams up with Boba Fett, he teams up with Migs, he teams up with the Carla, I can't remember her name, but
Fennec Shand. Fennec Shand.
No, not Fennec Shand. What's the name? The woman who got fired.
Cara Dune.
Cara Dune. He teams up with the Mandalorian people. Like, they come together. They're all different. They're all pursuing their own goals, and they come together and defeat the evil.
Yes. And I'm sorry I'm laughing, folks, but he said a second ago about black or white, and my first thought is... They released, I have several Darth Vader Funko Pops. I don't have all of them. I don't want all of them, but I have several of them. And one of the ones that I originally got was the one with him with the fist in the air. So it's not really the Force choke, but it's kind of the Force choke thing. And then Funko goes and they have this art series side, and they basically make him a Hoth version, so he's all white with blue eyes and whatever else. And
is that my first version, or is that the good version? Because there's a comic where he flips to the good side.
No, there's an Elseworld. It's the exact same Funko Pop, except it's in white and blue. It's him with the fist in the air, like he's Force choking some. It's the same pop. It's just painted differently, but it's painted in the Funko has this thing called the Artist Series where it's a whole story, it's a whole thing. But anyway, it's Darth Vader in white, so it's supposed to reference Hoth, I guess. But it's like reminds me of good old Hooper X from Chasing Amy. Inside, we all wants to be white. That's what it reminds me of.
Okay.
That's what it reminds me of. But no, it's like again, why can't we all just get along? Like, yes, I understand. As someone who has hated things in media and whatever else, fine, whatever. But that's the thing about entertainment, and I say this every week on a video show that I'm on called Kai Dragon Media every Wednesday. Entertainment is meant to be entertaining. That's the whole point of entertainment. Entertainment is an escape. Entertainment is, oh my God.
It's called escapism.
It's, oh my, like, okay, Friday is, hey, the weekend's coming up. It's the last day you have to go to work till Monday, whatever. If you work a 9 to 5 kind of thing. Hey, look, I get off at 5 p.m. I'm going to sit here and play the Friday song and just celebrate the weekend and the fact that I don't have to look at my job or my coworkers or my boss until Monday kind of thing. It's like, hey, everybody, let's go party kind of thing where it's like, yay, it's the weekend. It's the thing of entertainment is you've had a hard day at work. You want to turn your brain off, and I'm not saying I use that term a lot. I'm not saying that you turn your brain off and just whatever. I'm saying you want to turn your brain off from reality, like news programs and this, that. Like, look, it's nice to be informed. It's nice to be, have all the information, but the depression of watching the news is just like, oh my God. So yeah. Star Wars, entertaining, needs good stories, any franchise, not just Star Wars or anything.
Well, no, I don't know that I wouldn't say anything because I do think that like there is a value to art commenting on what's going on in the world. But I mean, I think there's also value to entertainment and escapism. Like I think both have values.
Right, they do.
Yeah. My concern, my issue is that I feel like escapism is being devalued and being ignored and being pushed aside because these young writers feel so vitally important that they've got to tell you about the wrongs of the world and they've got to change the world. And it's like, no, just make us happy for like a half an hour. That's all you need to do. Why is that so beneath you?
Yeah, no, I'm only. I can't believe I'm going to do this. I did not expect to put Eric Clapton and Sheryl Crow in a podcast episode. Oh my God. You said change the world and then you said happy. First thing I think of is those songs from 1996's Phenomenon with John Travolta and Cara Sedgwick and all that. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Like, I agree with you. Yes, there is value in being. There's a value in being informed and entertained all at the same time, but they're also.
But also separate them.
Right. Like
there's a value in being informed. And there's a value in because it's a braking mechanism. Not I don't know how to put it. Like it's a steam valve.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, gee, why are people going crazy and doing all these terrible things? Well, because the pressure mounts and mounts, and there's no escape.
Yeah, and you hit the nail right on the head, literally, like you put it right in the middle of my brain, which unfortunately is not going to solve my brain problems. But yeah. I found out 5 years ago because I had to have brain surgery done, and I think I've said this in other episodes, but I had to have excess fluid drained off my brain, or else my brain had built up so much pressure that even though this isn't the way it's going to happen, it would have happened, but my brain was about to pop out of my skull. There was that much pressure in my head, kind of thing. So that's what you're saying, yeah. So what you're saying there, you need, again, you have a gauge. You have a gauge that starts in the green zone, goes to yellow, and I'm not saying this because of whatever, nuclear, whatever the hell. I'm just saying that's usually the way pressure gauges look like. Green, yellow, orange, red, whatever. And you need to stay somewhere in the green zone. Maybe if you get a little bit into the yellow, once you get into orange and red, you're kind of like, no, I need to escape this. And that to me is what entertainment is.
I think that's a big part of it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mandalorian does that. This season does that. And I didn't know, when I watched this originally in 2020, I started watching the animation after the end of this series, after the end of this season. So when Ahsoka shows up, I'm like, okay, Rosario Dawson, love her. Who the hell is this Ahsoka character? Because I was not, back then when the animation was going on, again, it was a different time in television. It was Disney XD or it was whatever.
Yeah. Well, no, it was originally, Clone Wars was originally on Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network, right. But yeah, so like I wasn't watching it back when it was originally airing. So after this season, I was like, oh, okay. So we have Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. I kind of know that Ashley Eckstein was the voice. I at the time knew that Ashley is the voice of Ahsoka, and I just went and I dove in and I just watched all the animation during the pandemic. And I'm like, okay, fine, cool. And coming back to season 2 now, I'm like. I took because as much as I love these 8 episodes, I only needed, once I started watching them, I'm like, I need 3 notes and that's it. I don't need any other notes for this podcast because I know exactly 3 notes. Well, one is left over from Jedi, from Return of the Forest, Desert Droids, The Empire, oh my. Mando Season 2, Ahsoka. I know pretty much everything that's going to happen to that character at this point, going back watching Season 2 now, because we've already seen Ahsoka. We've already done the Ahsoka podcast episodes. And then for me, it was the Darksaber. I'm like, oh, right, the Darksaber. But I love learning about Bo-Katan. I love learning about Mandalore. I love the way that I still don't think he should have revealed his face, but I love Din Djarin and the whole thing and whatever else.
He had to get the computer thing to work.
I know. Yeah,
that's the whole point.
Yep. He had to get the computer thing to work, and then he had to make sure that Grogu would go with Luke.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. The only two, and yeah, we are covering. That's right, we are covering Boba Fett. Initially,
you want to do it?
Yeah. Initially, the only. Yes. Yeah. Initially, the only 2 episodes I ever saw that, besides the very first one, were the Mando 2.5 episodes, because I don't care about. Even in this, like, okay, Boba Fett's here. That's awesome. He's here to kind of help Mando. He's here to kind of be awesome. That's cool. I like that part about it. He's here, not necessarily. I don't want to just classify him as a supporting character or.
Well, he is in this one, yeah.
He is. He is, but like. I mean,
he always like literally until his own show, he was a supporting character, if that.
Yeah. So. But yeah, no, and I love the way that Mando and and Grogu's relationship goes through with this, and I love all the locations and the music in this. Oh God, it's so good. And then once Ahsoka shows up, I'm just like, okay, I'm in. Let's go. Because it was just so fun. Because again, you think, oh, the Jedi. When anyone that is a layman or a normie or however you want to characterize someone that knows nothing about any of this stuff, when you say the Jedi to somebody, the first thing they're probably going to think of is either Anakin or Luke or Ben or something that has been in the zeitgeist for the last almost 50 years. Or is it over? No, it's 49 years, right? Am I right?
It's closing in on 50. Like Lucasfilm is 50 years old. I know that, but
yeah.
It'll be 50 in 3 years.
50. So we're at 46 years for whatever. The point is that if you say chapter 13, the Jedi is the title of chapter, first thing anyone's going to think is, oh, that's Luke, or oh, that's whatever. They're not going to think of. Okay, well, but I'm saying like
no, but like I had a completely different experience than you did, because I remember when the Clone Wars came out in 2008. I watched it. I didn't follow the entire. I think I went like 3 or 4 seasons into it, so I knew who Ahsoka was.
Right.
I didn't know that she had survived. I mean, I didn't know where she was at that time. But when they said the Jedi, I did not assume it was going to be Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
As I said in the final episode, when it was Luke Skywalker,
right?
It took me way longer than most people to believe that it really was Luke Skywalker. Like, because I could not accept that was happening.
Yeah.
It was too great for my tiny little poo brain to figure that out.
Right.
So I figured it would be, and I think she mentions what's her name? Bo-Katan, I think, mentions Ahsoka Tano.
He does, yes.
So I knew it was Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I didn't think it was Luke. So I knew who the character was the first time I saw it. Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, the bigger thing at the time, irony is pretty ironic, was that they name dropped Thrawn. And I was like, ooh, Thrawn, because famously Disney had kind of jettisoned all the
EU
stuff.
Yeah.
So the fact they're like, and Thrawn is a very beloved character amongst the fans. The books were. I thought the books were okay. I never felt like they were very. I don't know. They were okay books. Thrawn is basically a glorified Sherlock Holmes, in my opinion, because he's Sherlock Holmes, and then Captain Pallion is Watson. And that was the one thing I did love about season 3. Well, one of the things I love about season 3 is that they bring in Pallion. I'm like, yay! By Jove, Thrawn, you've done it again. And he's 100% Nigel Bruce Watson, because Watson isn't really a blithering idiot in the books.
Right.
That's just very, like they have a very Basil Rathbone, Nigel Bruce dynamic in the books, in the Thrawn books. So it was like, hey, Thrawn, that's kind of neat. And of course, they also had Michael Biehn in that episode. So I was like, hey, Hicks, I'm thrilled to death that you're getting work, buddy.
Yep.
So I don't know, and that was the introduction of Mean Lady, who apparently like there's nothing in that episode that suggests she's a Dathomir witch.
Right.
And I'm like, oh wait. So yeah, there was stuff. I don't know. It might have been my least favorite episode of that season, because not much really happens. I mean, not much happens, but it's okay. We do find out Grogu's name.
Yep.
Which I think after, like, you said that was 2020, so after 4 years, like most Star Wars names, eventually you just accept it.
Yeah.
You know, like because for the longest time it's like Grogu, he's Baby Yoda. Grogu. Yeah. And I think it's the next episode has the magic rock. Because I literally remember explaining to a friend of mine that episode. It's like they put Baby Yoda on the magic rock, and she's like, "What?" Yeah. I'm like, "There's a magic rock. And they put the Baby Yoda on it. Yeah. Like, didn't it have a name?" And it's like, "Yeah, it's Grogu." She's like, "Oh, yeah." So they put Baby Yoda on the magic rock.
I think my only, and this is just a nitpick on my part, but I think my only problem with that episode, chapter 14, episode 6, the tragedy, where he does take him to the ancient temple of Tython. He tries too many times, like, to get him out of the thing, to get him out of his little no, like, okay, fine, but go fight the things, go
protect. What he does. I mean, like,
I know he does, but like,
the writing kind of screws him. Like, and obviously, I'm not saying it's bad writing. It's just like the writing screws him over, because like it fades the minute he turns his back.
Yeah.
He couldn't have known that. He couldn't have predicted it.
Right.
I would like that. That episode's funny, of course. Funny and a little frustrating for me, because that's the one where they blow up the Razor Crest.
Yeah.
And I do think we have to address the fact that Hasbro, for those who don't know or don't buy toys, Hasbro has a thing where they kind of kickstart projects called Hasbro Pulse.
Yep.
And they did one for the Razor Crest, and it takes forever for these things to get made. So they did it after the first season, and it hadn't come out yet. And they blew up the Razor Crest, and oh my God, fans went out of their mind. They went ballistic. And I was like, well, that sucks, but like, I'm still getting that. I like that design. I like that toy. I want that thing. Mm-hmm. People canceled their orders, and I do feel that the replacement vehicle. Well, I guess we get to it, but I have mixed feelings about it.
Okay.
Because I love that design. I love that ship class, but it is so impractical for Mandalorian. Like, he's a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Like where are you going to take your? I mean, I know he's not bounty hunting anymore, but like
right.
It's like the show itself kind of acknowledges, okay, well, the premise of the show has been completely changed.
Yeah,
because he's not a bounty hunter anymore. He's a do-gooder.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bitch, basically.
You're not wrong.
Well, and then that's the other thing. Like the one crack in the beautiful gem that is season 2 for me is that they establish at the very end those fucking Elder Wand rules for the fucking Darksaber. Yeah. Oh, you have to defeat him in combat to get it. And Gideon knew that. Gideon did that shit on purpose.
Oh, yes, of course he did.
Well, I mean, you know.
And the funny thing is, with this whole season with Moff Gideon and Giancarlo Esposito playing that character, a number of years ago, I finally came around, and a buddy of mine, Ryan, and I did 5 episodes of a podcast that we no longer do called Remote Control here on the Geekcast Radio Network. Studio 2009.
Girl said yes, but he said no. Now he's got his own game show. Remote Control.
No.
Obscure 80s game show.
Yeah, yes, I remember, yeah.
He wasn't like the other kids.
So we did 5 episodes. Each episode is a season of Breaking Bad, and I finally watched all of Breaking Bad. I finally gave the show a chance. And my main thing originally why I didn't want to give the show a chance is because I'm a very straight edge person. I've never done drugs my entire life. I was a DARE kid in the 80s, drug abuse and resistance education for those that don't know. You know, I've never smoked cigarettes. I've drank alcohol here or there, but not very often. I think the last time I had a drink was 2018. It's just not my thing, kind of thing. And that was my main gripe. Why am I going to care about a character who needs to, even though he's trying to provide for his family?
Yeah, he's not a drug addict. The way he's trying to drugs, like it's all about providing for his family.
Yeah, well, so that was my main gripe. And then my buddy Ryan finally, at the time, said, "Just give it a chance." Blah blah blah. And then Gus Fring shows up. And I'm like, that was the first time I ever saw Giancarlo do anything. I'm like, oh, okay. X number of years later, watching this, I'm like, I just want half his face to melt off, like Gus. Like, I just want Moff Gideon's half of his face to melt off.
I mean, well, in the end, his whole face melted because he got blown up.
True. But
yeah, I love that show from the start. So my dad was an alcoholic, so I never drank. I never did drugs. I mean, I've had like maybe 2 drinks my entire life, and I'm like 53 years old. Like I don't consider myself straight edge, but like just kind of naturally like avoided.
Yeah,
because I think if you look around my house and you look at me, I do have very addictive elements of my personality.
Yeah.
So I try to avoid stuff like drugs and alcohol. I never smoked. I hate smoking.
Yeah.
But like me, it was like I was hooked immediately. I was hooked in this guy is trying to be a good guy, and the world craps on him, and then it turns out he's got one thing he can do. Like I was hooked from beginning to end on that show. And I knew who Giancarlo Esposito was because I think I've mentioned this before. Another show that I love is called Homicide: Life on the Streets,
right?
Which was a police detective procedural thing in the 90s, early 80s, late 80s. Yep. And he comes in the very last season as the son of Yaphet Kotto's character. And he didn't really make like a huge impression, but like I knew he, it was like, hey, that's the guy from Homicide.
Yep.
So I knew him before he was Gus Fring.
But just because, but just because of Gus and the way that he plays Moff Gideon is like, oh, please, can we just have half his face melt off? Please, 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 please. But obviously. But yeah, Homicide: Life on the Street, January 31st, 1993. That's when it first aired. But yeah, no, I liked that. I liked the way Moff Gideon was with you kind of knew what he was doing, but you didn't really know, and then he just played everybody against themselves kind of thing. Like that whole scene at the end where he's like, where when they're on the bridge and she shoves him down onto the ground and he sees the the blaster or whatever it is, and he just kind of rolls over and lays on it and hides it, kind of thing, because he's going to try to do something.
Well, yeah, like it's a last minute kind of. He's lost, so it's like a last minute. I'm going to spoil it for everybody and shoot you.
Yep. And I have to say, as much as I like I like the Clone Troopers. I like Clone Trooper Force 99. I like the Bad Batch. I like all that stuff. That's fine. But when it comes to, TK421, not necessarily the Luke thing, but just the white troopers, like, I've never cared about the white troopers whatsoever. I've never cared.
What do you mean by the white troopers? I'm not following you.
The main stormtrooper.
Okay, gotcha.
The white uniforms.
I got you.
So I've never cared about any of those, whether they were.
You're not supposed to. They're literally faceless.
I know they're faceless fodder.
They're white shirt. They're red shirts, basically.
But I love what Moff has done with this and removed everything and made them. I love the Dark Troopers.
Well, the Dark Troopers come from a video game. You know that, right?
No, I did not know that.
Oh yeah, the Dark Troopers come from like an old video game. Oh god, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like one of the earliest. It was like a first-person shooter. You play as Kyle Katarn, and the whole thing is you're getting the plans for the Death Star 2, which got retconned twice now, right. I think. But the Dark Troopers are old, and then there's like all these different phases. There's like Phase 1, because I have all the toys of them. There's Phase 1, there's Phase 2, there's Phase 3, and these are Phase 3, which are more robotic. Right. Yeah, no, the Dark Troopers have been around a long time, my friend.
I want to say 1995, the Star Wars Dark Forces?
Dark Forces, yes.
Yes. Okay, but like this Phase 3 version, all robotic, all this, oh man, I love it. That's my kind of stormtrooper right there. Where Moff Gideon has...
Well, but again, there are, like, the whole thing is they even in the show, they put in limitations. The whole thing is it takes a conveniently long time to power them up.
Right.
They don't keep them powered because it's too much of a drain. Like, there's...
Right.
It's almost like a video game level of restrictions. Like, well, you can't be too awesome. Gotta have...
But when they are awesome, they're so
they are
awesome.
Well, and then Luke comes and, like, wipes the floor with them.
Yeah.
Which is why that sequence works.
Yes, no, absolutely.
The Dark Troopers are established as like a huge threat, and then Luke comes in and he goes full Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One on their asses, and then
yes, he does.
I mean, and it's great. It's great. It's good. Go while you're listening to us. Go watch this show. It's a good show.
Yeah, very good show. Absolutely. It's. I just love. No, it's just that, like, they're worried about, oh my God, how are we going to stop the Dark Troopers? Oh my God, they're fist pounding into the door, blah, 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 blah. And then you hear this alarm go off. And then you
the whole sequence is brilliantly done.
No, I know.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
But like, oh my God, you hear the alarm go off, and then you hear the sound of the X-Wing. I'm just like, oh my God. Yes, I am here for this. Like, I could watch the 8th episode of this over and over and over again, because this is one of the greatest episodes of Star Wars television ever. One of.
I don't disagree. Aside from, you got to defeat him in combat. Like,
yeah. Outside,
if I was Mando, I'd like.
That's
like, just punch me in the shoulder. Ow, drop.
Well, because we know he's not, like, he has no, like, his thing is, like, his thing in the first season was, I'm a bounty hunter, blah, blah, I want no attachments, blah, blah. Oh, wait, here's this child. By this season, I'm pretty much this child's father, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. He didn't want anything to do with the Darksaber. He don't want a responsibility with that.
Restoring life to Mandalore or whatever. I mean,
that's her thing. So, like, so here, like, I forfeit. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Fine. Go ahead. Forfeit. And you're right. Absolutely. When Luke shows up and he's doing it's very much, hallway Vader. Obviously not.
Yeah. I mean, not exactly the same, but it's close.
It's close because it's just like even though we don't know, but it's you see the moves that he does, you see the choreography of the scene, and everybody inside that control room is like, "Who the fuck is that? Who the fuck is that? Oh, who the fuck that is?" And then they fuck around and find out. Oh God, yeah, no, I love this season.
It was a really good season. It was.
Yeah.
It was great to end Star Wars on a high note.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Very smart move on their part to not ruin it.
Yep.
I think. Let it sit for a little while and then you can bring it back and everyone will be like, "Oh yeah, Star Wars, that thing that was really great."
Some of the and obviously unfortunately and I don't remember I don't remember season 3. The only thing
I do.
I know you do. But the only thing I remember of season 3 is how season 3 ends. But was he when did he Oh, okay, well he died this year, so he was in season 3. Great, Carl Weathers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he passed away this year in February.
I remember.
Okay, well, I could not remember if he now I remember because that's right, he isn't. My brain.
Yeah, he's in season 3 because he's got those. Yeah. He's got my favorite thing from season 3, which are those little tiny droids that hold his cape up and walks around.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because I have mixed feelings going into season 3. Because I remember kind of liking it when it started out. I remember there were things. A lot of people complained about the giant space crocodile. Yeah. I, of course, love giant space crocodiles. So I liked a lot of stuff early on. I think it's just once they got just wrapped up in the Mandalorian, the planet Mandalore stuff, I was kind of like,
yeah.
And it was funny because at one point I was angry over the whole Darksaber thing because I'm like, But if this happened, then doesn't that mean this? And then 3 episodes later, Mando's like, so this happened, so that means that. And I'm like, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
So they used the same logic, but they just took 4 episodes to get around to it. I was like, okay.
Yep. Pretty much, that's what happened.
She's the one. The Nothok killed. The Nothok took me out, and then she killed the Nothok, which is a D&D reference, but the one-eyed monster thing. It's her sword. Just leave me alone. I don't want it. Yeah. I will say that I did like the very ending of season 3. I do like that final shot. And the thing that makes me sad is, of course, it's a great final shot for the show, for the characters, for everything, and they're making a movie.
Yep.
It's like just Disney. Why? Oh, I know why. Because they think they can make money off of it.
Yep.
But I really think you need to get someone else in there to run the show, or you're going to be wasting away another $300 million. Like you before you greenlight another movie or another TV series, you need to stop and think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Stop fighting with the fans.
Yep.
Because it's JCPenney's famous line. Customer's always right. Like, even if they're wrong and they're an asshole, they're the guys with the money, which is the thing that you need. Particularly if your shows cost, like, every episode of The Acolyte costs more than the entire movie Godzilla -1.
That's just kind of wrong.
And honestly, the special effects in Godzilla -1 aren't as mind blowing as everyone makes them out to be. But I mean, still though, it's a fine movie, and it's like, you gotta stop this. I know that Kathleen Kennedy's everybody's favorite punching bag from the fandom side, and I'm not saying like she needs to be like drug out on a rail and set on fire or whatever, but or even fired if you want to be that way. But you gotta stop giving her money. I would think after Willow and Indiana Jones, and they had the Star Wars group had a big hand in the Galactic Cruiser Hotel.
Yes.
And they had a big hand in Batuu in Galaxy's Edge. at what point do you stop giving this person money? And they don't. They just go, just greenlight the next project you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go take my showers and play with hippopotamuses. Apparently, all those weird behind the scenes talk about Disney. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either. That's why I don't like. If you want to show me a cool when they did what is it? It's not Galaxy of Sound. It's Star Wars Gallery. Like when they do the specific behind the scenes, like Mando season 1, when they showed us how they made the show inside this whatever Favreau had.
Oh yeah, that weird technology they have.
The studio thing, all that. Yeah, if you want to show me that behind the scenes stuff of a show or a movie or fine, whatever. I don't care. When it comes to the entertainment, I don't care about the behind the scenes politics of the damn company. Like, I don't know, man. It's that bleeding thing of we were talking about earlier of not being. There's no balance between reality and the entertainment and all this and all whatever else. But overall, Mando season 2, absolutely love it. Yeah,
good stuff.
Just so very cool, so very fun. I like the ending of season 2. But I like the Luke stuff more than I like the Boba Fett stuff when he goes to. When he goes to
Jabba's palace.
When he goes to Jabba's palace, and we see Bib Fortuna and all this and all that, and he kills him, and fine, whatever. That's fine. It's a nice little button hook. It's a nice little hey.
Well,
guess
it was a stinger for the.
It was a stinger. But like, even if it wasn't a stinger for Boba Fett, it would be a nice little way to say, hey. This is where Boba ends, kind of thing. Let's go into Mando season 3 to see what happens. Like,
yeah,
necessarily need.
Well, I mean, supposedly they didn't even like. You always gotta say supposedly because you hear this stuff and you don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Word from Ming-Hua Nen and I think I got her name wrong, but and
you got it.
Tamara Morrison is that they didn't know they were doing Book of Boba Fett. They thought they were doing Mandalorian season whatever. Like they didn't realize they were doing their own show.
Yeah.
Which I think says something about just how things are run over there at Disney. Like, so yeah, I mean, it would have been much better if that had been like a combined series. If Mandalorian season 3 had been the upheaval on Tatooine and Mando gets involved, because that's kind of what it became anyway.
Yeah.
But like they just focused more on Jin and his involvement. Because I think more Star Wars fans, I know you love the cartoons, but I think the majority of Star Wars fans are more familiar with the movies and more invested in Jabba and Boba Fett. And I know when we get there, again, my attitude about Book of Boba Fett is very similar to my attitude about Acolyte, where I like the idea of it, but I don't think it was handled well. I don't think the execution was poor.
Yeah.
The basic idea of this guy who has learned from the mistakes of others and wants to rule through respect and not fear. It's a very classic. It's kind of a Western story. It's the guy who wants to take over the town and do things differently. Right. And that's really kind of a cool idea. And then of course the forces of whatever push back. The forces of chaos or the forces of Eastern civil. In a lot of Westerns, the civilization is creeping in, and sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing. The problem is that the show basically becomes Boba Fett and girl with robot stomach walking around, and it's like that one. And I get it. There's a very famous scene from The Godfather where Don Corleone is walking around the neighborhood. It's one scene.
Yeah, it's one scene.
It's not like 6 episodes. Also, you got Jennifer Beals and then you did nothing with her and then you blew her up. That makes me angry. Very fanboy angry.
Yes, absolutely.
Then you killed my boys, my Gamorrean guard boys. They're the only ones in the crew that got killed.
Oh, no.
And it's my favorite meme. Is there's one with Andrew Garfield and he saves them. Mm-hmm. Like he did in Spider-Man No Way Home. Saved Mary Jane.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's just one of those things, folks, where, I don't know, I just feel like...
This is where the wheels come off. Like, I hate this. And then the wheels were, and ironically, this is like years after the sequel trilogy, but like the wheels were already wobbly.
Yeah.
But like I think this is well, okay, no, Andor's the last objectively good thing they did, but again, Andor's a very specialized taste. I don't know how to put it. Like I can see why people did not dig it. It's fine. I adore it. I love it to pieces. But I can see why. But that's the whole thing. That's my frustration with Acolyte. Is Star Wars could be big enough if they wanted it to be, to do all these different things, have all these different flavors, all these different styles, all these different stories. It could be. I know there's an argument that you got to stick to the Skywalker saga and never move off of that. I disagree. I think the universe is big enough that if you're bold enough and you're willing to roll the dice, you can tell these other stories.
Yep.
But you gotta tell them well. You can't just like turn in a first draft, and you can't be self-indulgent. You like Acolyte could have been something really interesting, and I think it just was handled poorly.
Well, like Andor, like we did Andor season 1, and we're obviously going to do Andor season. But like Andor is, remind me, where does that fall in the continuity?
It's the first season is a few years before. Well, no, several years before before Star Wars, before New Hope.
Okay.
It's between the fall of the Republic and the rebellion.
Rise of the Empire.
Yeah. No, the Empire's risen. Well, that's what I love about Andor. Andor is the story about how the Empire goes from being the guys that won the Clone Wars to being the evil galactic empire.
Right. Okay. So that's where that is. And that's fine. Like that we aren't going to cover it, folks, because Dave has no interest in covering it, and I am not one of those podcast producers that forces people into anything. If you want to do it, you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. As of right now in the schedule for 2024, Andor is not on it. But Acolyte is not on it. Is not.
If you really wanted.
No.
What I'm saying is, if you really like, maybe when we finish everything, because I mean it's 100 years before.
Yes, exactly. That's how we will do it. Is as long as Acolyte doesn't get a second season, if it just has one season, we will finish it. We will do it as like a bonus episode after Rise of Skywalker kind of thing. My point is, right now, as we're recording, hopefully people can't hear me typing and whatever. Sometimes you probably will be able to. Sorry, folks, it's the way I am. But we've got 2 episodes from now, 2 episodes from now, we've got Boba Fett season 1, Mando season 3 as one episode. I have split up to your request because.
If you want to do all in one shot, we'll do them all in one shot.
I've already redone it.
Okay.
So after Boba Fett and Mando Boba Fett season 1, we've got Force Awakens, and
I think Force Awakens we should definitely do on its own, and then maybe the other two.
Yes. So after that, we've got that. Well, part of my thing is like I want to take a break with the show overall so I can do other podcast stuff. So we've got that. And then my buddy DJ and I are going to do the Macquarie missions. Mission Impossible, Rogue Nations, Fallout Will Be a Dead Reckoning. So we're going to do 5, 6, and 7 for that, my buddy DJ and I. Steve and I are going to do Deadpool and Wolverine because we're going to do Deadpool double shot. It actually will happen right before we do Boba Fett. And then sometime end of summer, beginning of fall, you and I are going to switch. And we're going to go to that lovely universe with the guy that it's always just one more thing. So we're going to start that.
All right, I'm not gonna blow out listeners' eardrums by screaming yes.
We're going to do that.
But oh my God, I love that show. I love that character. I love that show so much. I'm so excited.
So we're going to do that. And then Steve and I are going to come back and we're going to do a Batman Beyond 25th anniversary episode. That will be episode 99 because as of this year, 25 years since Batman Beyond. It's 25 years since Force Awakens. It's 25 years since 1999. It's 25 years since I graduated high school.
It's not 25 years since Force Awakens. It's 10 years since Force Awakens.
Not Force.
Don't rush me off to the iceberg.
I'm sorry, Phantom.
I already feel like the dude at the end of Last Crusade who chose poorly. Damn.
You didn't choose poorly. No, you didn't choose poorly. So after we do episode 99, sometime the end of August, beginning of September, we're going to take a couple of months off so I can go do some other stuff. We're going to come back in December, and hopefully, he hasn't agreed to this yet, but hopefully my buddy Terry and I can reconnect, because it will be 5 years since Terry and I first started podcasting various stuff. So we always did stuff in December. So episode 100 of Studio 2009 will be his podcast approach. And then at the end of December, to give you all a lovely Christmas present, we're going to do Christmas commercials we love as an episode. So we're going to talk about various Christmas commercials and things like that, like the Folgers coffee commercial where Peter comes home for Christmas or whatever the hell it is. And then you and I will close out 2024 by finishing off the 12 months of Star Wars with The Last Jedi in episode 104.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say holiday special. I'm like,
yeah,
let's do it.
Maybe 2025. Maybe Christmas 2025. Maybe. Maybe. Actually, you know what? We could probably do that as Christmas in July. Yes, I know. I'm breaking everybody's brains right now. So yeah, we're going to end the year with the other two sequel trilogy films, and that's how Studio 2009 will end 2024. Because, like I said, for me with podcasting, I am a machine and I can do a lot of stuff, but things also take time. Things also need to be broken up in certain areas, and I figure, hey, taking a break between August and December so I can do other projects and whatever, that's fine. Obviously, next year, you and I will continue on the Columbo trail and everything else. Actually, I think I have Columbo season 2 set as the first episode for 2025. So, but getting back to the whole thing with Mando season 2, it's great. It's just fucking great. There's no critical thinking I need to put on it. There's no nothing. There's no little nitpicks that make my score go down or anything like that. There really are, outside of the one thing we've already talked about with, whatever it was.
I don't know that it bothered you as much. Stuff that bothered me, I don't know that it bothered you at all. So,
I don't know. I just look at this as like, okay, this is cool. And yeah. Do you have a overall favorite character moment from season 2?
I love it when Miggs shoots the guy, his former commander. That's a great moment.
Yes.
When after the Razor Crest gets blown up, I love that he digs through the wreckage and he finds the ball.
That's good. Yep. Yeah. I like the. It's gonna sound so stupid. I like the parenting character moment, specifically when he's trying to tell him, no, don't eat this mother's eggs. Like, no, like he's trying to teach him, no, don't. And unfortunately, Grogu does anyway.
Yeah.
Special effects, again, the poor Razor Crest.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, it's funny. One thing I feel like I've noticed, I know I might be a crazy person, is that Lucasfilm has a way of doing homages to other things a lot. Like the Phase 1 clone trooper kind of looks like a Cylon if you squint, you know?
Okay, yep.
Right? Yeah. But the Razor Crest kind of looks like Eagle 5. Like from Spaceballs.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's got the wings and the engines and it's got that central mass. It kind of looks like their little nod to the Eagle 5.
Yeah.
And one quick thing about the eggs episode that we didn't mention is that the spiders are based on a Ralph McQuarrie concept art for Dagobah. The Navi spider was in early McQuarrie art for Dagobah. So it was kind of cool to see them show up on the show.
That was my only kind, like, you and I have talked about this before. I have certain gross out moments that I won't, like, I will turn away. I did not turn away, but that would have been when those spiders start crawling all over the ship and we see the fangs of them right before Grogu eats the thing.
Yeah.
Like, like that would have been my heebs and jeebs kind of moment, but overall I was fine with it for the most part. But yeah, no, this was just so fun. I wish we could see more Dark Troopers. Like, seriously, like, that was one hell of a, like, just one hell of a battle between them and Luke and everything. It was just so freaking cool. I really dug it. And I like that. God, now I need to decide. Oh, what is that? That's, hold on. So there is one, no, there are two. There are two Funko Pop Dark Troopers. There's one with the Dark Trooper and it's just the Dark Trooper with the blaster. And then there's another one with him flying, but he's holding Grogu, and it glows in the dark. So
that sounds cool.
I might have to get that one. It's an Entertainment Earth exclusive, so it should be fairly easy to come by. But yeah, no, I absolutely dig this stuff. Yeah, so fun. So, folks, before I continue blushing all over this thing, I would recommend Season 1 and Season 2 of Mando to anybody that wants to kind of get in on Star Wars, that just wants something that they've never seen before, kind of thing. What about you?
Oh, absolutely. Like, yes. I think Season 1 and Season 2 are great. I think, I don't know anybody I've recommended it to who hasn't enjoyed it. I've had several people who finally watched it and suddenly my phone's blowing up because they're sending texts. So, yeah, I think it's a great show. I think it loses a little something going into it knowing about Grogu because that to me was magical. But at this point, it's kind of like 5 out of 5. I don't know what I gave the first season, but if I didn't give it 5, I was wrong.
Yeah. And again, that one thing that we didn't like is like that's you can overlook it. Like, it's not for me to take points off, a half point, a whole point. It really has to make me not like the thing. Like, it has to, like, this is the reason why I'm taking points. Like, these 5 things happen in this movie, so this movie to me is only a 4.5 or a 3.5 or whatever. And those aren't bad scores on our Geekometer, because we are now we are this is a debut name here, folks. In the future, when the Geekcast Radio Network launches the new website and whatever else, we are changing the universal rating system to the Geekometer, because Steve Megatron wants to compete with the Tomato Meter for some odd reason. I don't know why. We start fights with IGN. We're going to start fight with Rotten Tomatoes. Here we go. But yeah, 5 out of 5. Absolutely love Season 2. All right, folks, we're going to go to a quick ad break. You're going to hear some ads and some other stuff, and we will come back to close the show right after this.
Hello, geeks and geekettes! Looking for a podcast that covers a vast array of topics? Then check out Altered Geek Unleashed, where we discuss our thoughts on this week's geeky news, tech, gaming, television shows, movies, cartoons, comics, and more. So, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks. Every Friday on the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hello, everyone. This is JD from the In Session Film Podcast. Each week, we review
the latest from Hollywood, California.
Well, yes, Brendan. We also
give top 3 lists.
Okay, yeah. Thanks again, Brendan. Additionally, you can hear us
talk other movie news, trailers, varying movie series, or other interesting film-related topics, and even rants and raves of the week.
On top of our main show, every Friday,
you can also hear our extra film podcasts.
You can listen to the In Session Film Podcast on
iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or at InSessionFilm.com. Listen to the In Session Film Podcast every Monday and Friday. Subscribe today and hear me verbally beat JD like a Cherokee drum.
No. That's not how this works, sir.
For the best in science fiction, join Mark Baumgarten, Vicky Jakubowski, Zion Kiros, and Juan San Miguel on the award-winning podcast Mark Who 42's Universe. Doctor Who, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Star Trek, and more are all fair game with Mark Who 42. which has been around since 2012 in one form or another. Mark Who 42's universe is proud to be a part of Geekcast Radio Network, the best place to get your geek on. Listen to us bi-weekly or weekly if we have a topic relevant for you, our listeners. Mark Who 42 on Geekcast Radio Network, a match made in a galaxy near you.
Welcome to my throne room, Future Tales. The Beast Unleashed podcast is over, not gone. You can hear more of this great podcast, discussing all the episodes of Beast Wars and Beast Machines on GeekCastRadio.com. We include voice actor and writer interviews with stellar hosting by Steve, Mike, and Michael. Head on over to iTunes or the net, or else I will send you my vehicles to extract your spark and destroy you. Yes.
All right, folks. I gave you a preview of what's coming up here on Studio 2009. We are back. 5 out of 5 for both of us for Mando Season 2, as this is episode 92. Coming up next time, we've got, like I said before, next time, leading up to what's coming later, Steve Megatron is going to be back, and we are going to be doing a Deadpool double shot, double feature. Because I've only seen the first movie, and I don't remember the first movie because it's been years since I saw it. So we are going to do a Deadpool double feature with Deadpool 1 and 2. And then after that, we will figure out everything for when Deadpool and Wolverine hits later
in the month. Yeah.
Yep, later in July. I think we are, as of this, 2 days late, we're 28 days away from Deadpool and Wolverine.
We got our tickets.
Yay. You and Jason are going? Yeah, very cool.
We'll try to get that horrible popcorn bucket. Fingers crossed. It's not gonna be as magnificent as the Dune one, but because it's deliberate. Like the comedy's never as funny when it's deliberate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I still want one because it's terrible.
I love in all of the marketing now for Deadpool and Wolverine. In that, was it the first trailer or the second? No, the second trailer I think just came out as of this recording. But by the time,
I see it then.
Yeah, I think it literally just came out today. But in that first trailer, when Deadpool was like, "Let's fucking go," and then at the end, Wolverine's like, "Let's fucking go." All of the TV spots that shorten all of that just shorten Jackman saying, "Let's go." Like they take out the F word, which I understand is fine. Like whatever, it is what it is. But like when they both said that, I was like, "Oh hell yeah!" Like Like I don't even really need to see the first 2 movies to see this, but I know I'm gonna, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, it does.
I know.
The way it's set up, it does seem like, well, because sometimes you don't really need to see the movies, the previous movies to know what's going on. But this one seems like it's Deadpool's whole universe. We're just saying a Deadpool movie, emotional arc are the friends he made.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, folks, Mando Season 2, we're closing you out. Next time around, Deadpool double feature with 1 and 2 for that. Anything from you, sir? Anything you want to say? Anything you want to discuss? Anything before I run through the closing?
I think we covered most of it. It's just like it is an example of what can be done if you try. Like I don't really think it's that hard to get quality storytelling. Just it was. I'm glad they did it. I enjoyed it. I'm sad that it fell apart.
Yeah.
With the 3rd season. But again, like it's weird because there are things about the 3rd season that I remember I really liked.
Yeah.
So it'll be in there things about Book of Boba Fett. Like I remember liking several early episodes of Book of Boba Fett.
I think my bias comes in on it. That's the only thing that's come in on it, and I watched the first episode and I watched those other 2 episodes. Like I've only seen 3 of the 8 episodes. So again, and that was back when it originally. I don't even remember. I don't have any.
It was in March sometime.
Okay, well, fine.
I remember it was in March because I had to shovel my driveway I was listening to the theme song on the radio.
There you go. So yeah, but yeah, no, I'm interested to see what happens to the character. Hopefully, another Sarlacc doesn't get a hold of him, but
no, not another Sarlacc.
The same one.
There is a sequence.
Oh no.
It gets close. And then of course we find out like it's like that one episode of Lost where we find out the mystery of Jack's tattoo. We actually see Fenrir Shan get her robot stomach, which is just wow. It's just, I know you're sitting on the edge of your seat. Like I don't know why I'm making fun of a robot stomach because I could use one right now, but
we could all use robot stomachs.
It's a stupid concept when she unlatches the Velcro thing. Look, I have a robot stomach. It's like you're trying to do the Luke's hand thing. It doesn't work for organs.
No, it works for appendages. Yeah, it works for appendages. It does not work for organs. No. All right, folks.
Anyway, this was a Mandalorian season 2. It's really good. Enjoyed it very much.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for joining us here inside the studio. If you'd like to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show, there are several ways to do so. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can listen to and comment on all of our content. Send an email to feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can check us out on all the podcatching clients you choose to use, like Apple Podcasts and other things. I prefer Spotify because I like the UI better, but that's just me. You can follow us on Twitter @GeekCastRadio for the network, @ITS Studio 2009, all one word for the show. I'm @TFG1Mike. Dave is not on Twitter, but you can go interact with him over on Facebook with the Toy World Order fans group.
I always hate it when you say that because I barely interact with that group anymore.
I know.
Whatever.
But I don't know. It's just tradition at this point. You can also check us out on Facebook, the Geekcast Radio Network, as well as Studio 2009 Podcast over there. Next time, as I said, it'll be the Deadpool double feature, Deadpool 1 and 2, with Steve Megatron and myself. So for now, I am TFG1Mike with
David Draper.
Well, hear us back in the studio soon. God, I can't believe I keep saying I'm usually the one telling people not to do that.